the HD Projects here, and we're in a different state, Los Angeles, not New York no more. Say goodbye to New York, but we're going back to New York soon. Okay, so we will be interviewing our guest. Guest, you can introduce yourself.
My name is George Murray. I'm a friend of your father, Dennis Davis. We knew each other a long time ago.
Okay. Question number 1. How and when did you meet my dad, Dennis?
I don't remember when I first met your dad. I think it was when I was in college.
College?
I went to Bronx Community College, and I think that there were people that knew your dad and people that knew me, and we kind of met that way. But I do remember that people spoke very highly of him. He was a very energetic and very artistic drummer. And people loved when he came around when he was playing. So I remember playing with him at some park in near Chelsea. It might have been the community center. He was an outdoor concert that he organized on the spot. One day he just decided we're going to play, and he got people together and went and played. Okay?
Okay. How did you start playing bass for David Bowie?
So since I met your father, we, Dennis, and there was a guitar player named Carlos.
We interviewed him before.
Yeah. So Dennis and Carlos had played with David before I started to play with David. I think in probably 1973, 1974. And then in 1975, there was an opening for another bass player with David, and your dad called me. And I went, and I was in New York, and I flew out here to Los Angeles with him. And we started working on an album with David, called Station to Station.
How did you get your career started as a bass player?
Because I couldn't afford a set of drums when I was a kid. So I didn't have enough money to buy a bass. I bought the bass instead when I was in high school. And that's how I started. I taught myself and learned how to play bass and took some lessons. And that is how I started when I was a teenager.
Oh, cool. Can you describe the time you were playing bass for David Bowie?
Anytime or just in general?
In general.
It was a lot of fun. It was different. The time that your dad and I spent with David was from 1975 through 1981. And one of the things that David did during that time period was he did a lot of his experimental music. People didn't really know a whole lot about it. And he had gotten to a point in his career where he was able to do the type of music and compose the type of songs that he wanted to. And his record company at that time, RCA, they had to go along with it because he was producing music for them and fulfilling his obligations. But the important thing about it was at that time was he was not trying to please anyone. He was just trying to make music and to do it in a way that was different than most other people were doing it at the time.
Sometimes you get sound lonely. Sometimes you get nowhere.
tell me stories about you, my dad, and Uncle Carlos?
I have to think of some. You know, there was a lot of time that went by. I mean, every day was like a story with your dad and Carlos. Your dad loved to play, and your dad liked to entertain people. Your dad liked to be he was always naturally the center of attention. You know, your dad was always positive, he was always energetic, he was always humorous, he was always good-natured. And those qualities just came through. So whenever we were together, we were always having a good time, just laughing and joking about anything. Okay, whether it was a bad plane flight that we had, when things got really scary, or that was one flight we had, I can't remember where we were coming from, somewhere, it was like St. Louis or something, that the weather was really bad. You know, just glad to make it off the plane alive. Things like that. And Dennis was always positive. And just in general, just enjoying that situation together.
Okay. What is Dennis Davis drumming mean to you?
When Dennis played drums, no matter what he was playing, no matter what the song was, no matter what the type of music or style of music was, Dennis always made it groove. Always pushed the music forward. Even when we were, whether it was a neighborhood band that your father and I and another musician named Dennis, a guitar player named Dennis Heaven, we were in a band around, we used to practice in an area on 11th Avenue. Whether it was that type of music, or whether it was music when he was playing with Roy Ayers, or many of the other artists that he's played with, or whether he was playing with local musicians, or whether he was playing with David, he always, whatever the music was, whatever the song was, he could always make it groove, and he did that because he always put his heart into it.
What was your favorite song that you liked playing with my dad?
I like when we recorded the song Heroes. And I like when we played Heroes live.
Keep us together. We can be there forever and ever. We can be heroes just for one day. What you say?
First song I played was David and your dad, and when I came to Los Angeles in 1975, it's still one of my favorites, and that's a song called Golden Years.
Okay.
So those two.
What was the best memory?
Oh, and there's one more. On the Heroes album, there's a song that shows up on side B. The vinyl had side A and side B. Toward the end of the album, it's a song called The Secret Life of Arabia. That was one of my favorites also.
Okay. Why did you stop playing bass?
You're asking some tough questions.
You're never going to get that answer.
Well, I stopped playing. There's a number of reasons, but one of the
Main reason.
the main reason, or one of the easiest reasons I can give you, is because I got very, very busy working a regular job, and I got busy raising a family, and I kind of withdrew from the music industry and just from the all of the pressure that brings with it, and that I had not, when I moved here to Los Angeles, I had not made the number or the type of connections that I had at back home in New York City. So things were different here. They were different than where I grew up. They were different than where I spent a lot of time with your dad. Your dad and I knew each other, and even though we traveled all around the world, and I ended up moving out here to California. I think your dad moved out here to California also, either after I did or a little before. New York City is not the same as Los Angeles, and I had different experience out here musically than I did in New York.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to play again?
Maybe. I still play on the piano every once in a while.
See, there's a piano there that you can see.
I listen to a lot of music, but as far as playing bass, maybe.
If Dennis was still here, what would you tell him?
If Dennis was still here, if Dennis was still here, if I had the opportunity, I would not let as much time pass as I did between the last time I saw him. You know, the last time I saw your father was a long, long time ago.
Pushing through the market square, so many mothers crying. News had just come over. We had 5 years left to sighing. News guy wept when he told us Earth was really dying. Cried so much that his face was wet. Then I knew he was not lying.
Can you please give me some advice? Pretty please.
Advice on what? On your gaming, on your interview skills, on your...
In general life.
In general life, work hard no matter what you're doing, and no matter what is taking place or giving you problems, always try and do the right thing.
Okay. What was the best memory when you toured with David Bowie?
Well, there are lots of things that happen with David and just the band in general. And there were one time we almost drove off a cliff. Your dad, Carlos, and I were recording an album in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in a small city called Montreux. And we weren't working all the time, so we went out for a drive one day, and we're driving outside the city limits, and we decided to just go up into the woods to just see what we could see. And we were We were driving up this country road, and I remember on the way up, we passed this gentleman. He was either a shepherd or a farmer. He was doing something on the land. And we waved to him, and he had this very funny look on his face. Not because we were different than he, but I'm sure that he was not expecting to see us driving by him. But anyway, we kept on going, but he was looking at us like he was kind of, where are they? So we're driving. I can't remember whether I was driving or your dad was driving, but
Probably Dad.
the road got really narrow, and we're just running right along, and all of a sudden, the road just came to an end. And it came to an end right as we were. If we hadn't been paying attention, we probably would have kept on going and actually gone off the road, and the road actually was heading downhill. Other things that happened, and I wanted to let you know about, was, people would throw things on the stage occasionally, lots of times. So there was one time, and I don't remember what city it was, but someone had taken a, you know what a safety flare is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that.
Someone had taken a safety flare.
We have commentary guys behind us.
and lit it. Okay, so the end was on fire. I'm on the stage, and this joker takes it and throws it toward the stage. I see it coming. I don't know what it is, but it looked to me like it was a stick of dynamite. Right? So it's coming my way. All right, and all I remember is I just jumped, and this is in the middle of a performance. So I just jumped and ran off the stage. Everybody looked, where's he going? Okay, so, and it landed near me, but once it landed, people could see there was a flare, but I will never forget that moment. I was scared and shocked and embarrassed at the same time.
There's commentary guys. There's an audience, live audience. They're the lucky ones.
Any other questions for me? Okay.
Yes, the last question. Mm-hmm. When you guys are on trips, how did you guys deal with jet lag?
Well, we really just kind of had to power through it. And you usually ate more when you were tired because your body's using more energy. So we ate more, we slept where we could. We didn't use drugs because everybody in both bands knew that if you got in trouble on the road, you were essentially on your own and out, and you were out of the program. So the jet lag, we just had to stay awake, sleep when we could, eat when we could, and just try and just power through it. Okay. And remembering that old saying, "The show must go on."
Yeah, I know that.
Well, the show must go on, whether you're tired, whether you're sick, whether you're hungry, whether you got money. It doesn't matter. The show goes on.
Guys, we have my big bro here today, with us. It is super litty. And then I think I think he must have some ultimate great empowering questions. Okay.
And I think I saw you in an ice cream parlor, drinking milkshakes cold and long, smiling and waving and looking so fine. Don't think you knew you were in the song. It was cold and it rained and I felt like an actor, and I thought of Mom and I wanted to get back there. Her face, your face, the way that you talk. I kiss you, you're beautiful. I want you to go. We've got 5 years stuck on my eyes. 5 years, what a surprise. 5 years, my brain hurts a lot. 5 years, that's all we've got. We've got 5 years stuck on my eyes. 5 years, what a surprise. 5 years, my brain hurts a lot. 5 years, that's all we've got.
Leave a comment below, and leave a like and subscribe